Hi, everybody. I'm Candid. Frank. He's Aaron William Freeland, and I got some hair that looks terrible. It's like I don't have much hair, but at least I could do is organize it.
What's left is flying away on you there, Frank.
Yeah, you got a nail. You got a nail or something that I could
pin it down.
Yeah, pin it down. Do something with it. All right, here we are. It is, of course, Candid Frank Live Leaf Talk, and we talk about everything Maple Leaf, and that means we talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. We talk about any Maple Leaf representing organization, whether it be a Canadian team playing in an American league or whether it be a Canadian team representing Canada on the international stage. So we'll start with the National Hockey League and the Toronto Maple Leafs. And, well, the Leafs played the Sabres last night, and they got cut up a little bit.
Well, it was Dahlin's first hat trick. The Leafs. Well, it was the first NHL hat trick of his career to go along with 2 assists. He had a 5-point night. Buffalo Sabres just basically heaped more misery on top in a 7-4 win. Tage Thompson had a goal and an assist in his 500th NHL game. Josh Doan, Alex Tuck, and Jack Quinn provided the rest of the offense for Buffalo, who are now 30-17-5 and have won 4 straight. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen allowed 2 goals on 5 shots before leaving with a lower body injury in the first period. Colton Ellis made 16 saves in relief to get the win. Matthias Samuelsson also added 3 assists. Austin Matthews and Max Domi each had a goal and 2 assists for Toronto. Bobby McMahon had a goal and an assist, and Matthew Nyes also scored. Joseph Woll stopped 24 of the 31 shots that he faced. The Maple Leafs have come off a relatively successful road trip, but have finished their 5-game homestand with 1 point. They were 0-4-1 and have dropped 7 of 8 games overall. They're 1-5-2 in their past 8, as they've been falling down the Eastern Conference standings the way my cat likes to fall down stairs, head first and with reckless abandon. That they entered play 6 points back of the second wild card spot, and are now 8 points back, barely ahead of the New Jersey Devils, Columbus Blue Jackets, Ottawa Senators, and woeful New York Rangers. Got a question for you, Frank. Do you think it's possible for them to still make the playoffs?
Are you asking me what I think or what I hope?
What do you feel?
I feel
more
no.
than anything.
I feel no. I feel their die has been cast. They are an incompetent group of players that cannot win enough to make it to the playoffs. They lack the ability to make big plays at big times. And the only way you're making the playoffs this year with the tightness of the standings is if you're capable of making big plays at big times. The Leafs have never been, and I say this with no satisfaction, no vindictiveness, they've just never been a team that wins when it really matters. And now what used to matter was making it to the Stanley Cup final. Now what matters is making it to the playoffs. They're ending up with the same result. They're incapable of winning games that truly matter. And unfortunately, it sits at this, like while Austin Matthews had a goal and 2 assists.
Yep.
Congratulations, Austin. You got a goal and 2 assists. But unfortunately, that which you have created over time has allowed you to slip this far. At the end of the day, this Leaf team is incapable of winning when it matters, and that's just an unfortunate truth. Can this team turn things around? Can this team turn things around with Nylander and Marner as their key players? I say no. I don't think it's possible. I really don't. I really don't think it's possible, because at no time has Austin Matthews or William Nylander shown us that they're able to win games that truly matter. Nylander has been the best of the 3, if you include Marner in the occasion in this discussion. he's been able to win some games, but they just didn't matter as much as the games that really matter. At the end of the day, that's the problem with the Maple Leafs, is that they don't have the kinds of players that can win games when it really matters. Are there players that can make a contribution in those regards? Yes, Lawton, Scotty Lawton is one of those guys. But unfortunately, they don't have key players. And see, this is the thing. They don't have the key players that can win when it matters. No, Aaron, to answer your question, and that's as long and a roundabout way as I can say, no, they will not make the playoffs. No, they cannot make the playoffs. And no, do they have the ability to understand what it takes to make the playoffs and have the ability to do it.
Fair, and I respect that. And it's one of those things.
I don't know why you do, because what I just said is mean, nasty, and totally negative. I feel bad about it.
Yeah, I understand that. Mathematically speaking, it is still possible for them to make the playoffs. Mentally speaking, it's another matter entirely. I don't think this team has either the stomach for it or the mental fortitude to actually make the playoffs. Unfortunately, this is the unfortunate situation that we're in. So,
you can do a lot when it doesn't matter, but it's what you do when it does that matters.
Yeah, and to go along with this, the Sabres are now 19-3-1 in their last 23 games. They've never had a run of 23 games like that. This is the winningest game stretch in Sabres history. They're third in the Atlantic now, 65 points.
And what did it take, Aaron? And what did it take for them to turn things around? What did it take?
Oh, they got rid of Kevin with a Y.
And they all they didn't change any players, Aaron.
No, same
players
personnel.
weren't changed. No personnel changes. All they did was they changed the general manager. Is there a message?
That's the problem here? Do we think we need to get rid of Brad Treliving or Craig Berube?
All I'm saying, okay, look, I'm not going to kick a dead horse. I'm not going to kick a dead horse. But what I am going to say is that sometimes it's a mental acuity is dependent on sometimes just having confidence and believing in the people that you have. They have a general manager who came in. He believes in the players they have. And how do we know that? Didn't change anybody. Hadn't sent anybody out. Hasn't brought anybody new in. All he did was he just took his chair and he said, hey, guys, you guys can win. And they said, you really think so? And they said, okay, let's give it a shot. And from the moment he was hired, made no moves other than to assume a chair. It was like almost they were saying, God, we're glad Kevin Adams is gone. Isn't that terrible? Isn't that a terrible thing for me to say? That's awful.
It certainly seems indicative of the way that they've actually been performing and behaving. I mean, Craig Berube did say that he felt that they'd scored enough goals to actually win some of those games, but everybody has to decide that the puck doesn't go into the net. And that includes the goalies, who have been absolutely terrible in the past few games.
Steve Simmons says that the season is over.
I don't often agree with Steve, but I think it could be possible that this season is done. They got terrible goaltending. They weren't ready to start or end periods. They got scored on 16 seconds into the second period, and it was just like, this is not something that can happen. 8 points behind a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 14 years. Montreal and Boston both won games in overtime, and both the Habs and the Bruins are also 8 points ahead of the Leafs. Like, there are so many teams that they have to jump over at this point. I don't think they're going to make it.
I don't think so, and I think it's time for them to basically hit the reset dial. That's what they have to do. And as much as Leaf fans will say, yeah, but Matthews is one of the best players ever to play in the National Hockey League and not win.
Yeah, and
not win.
They've been outscored 25-12 in the past 5 games.
You know the good news, Aaron? You know what the good news is? He's a captain of Team USA. And us Canadians have that to think about.
There is that.
Isn't that horrible? Like, I'm so glad as a Canadian hockey fan that Team Canada is up against a team whose captain is Austin Matthews.
If there's any consolation to be taken in all of this, I think it can only help the Canadian Olympic team. The good news is, the good news is we have a little bit of a road trip. We're going to be playing Seattle tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern. Then we play Vancouver at 7 p.m. on Saturday, followed by Calgary on Monday and Edmonton on Tuesday, and then a blessed, and I do mean this honestly, a blessed 3-week break. And the Leafs don't play again until February 25th when they're still on the road against the Tampa Bay Lightning and then the Florida Panthers on the 26th. So
let's talk about the Raptors and can they 50 win? What do you think?
You know, I mean, based on the standings so far and the way that they've been performing and the fact that they haven't been mired in a losing streak of any sort really so far this season, I think there's a very real chance that the Raptors can do that. You know, Scotty Barnes has been absolutely fantastic. Some of the other pickups that they've made have been good. Grady Dick has been decent coming off the bench. They're currently sitting at 4th in the Eastern Conference. They're currently 3rd in their division at 29-19. The New York Knicks are only ahead because they're 28-18. They've played 2 fewer games. The Boston Celtics are 29-17. Toronto's right in the mix at this point with 39-48. You know, 32 games left. I think it's entirely possible that they can get 60 out of this.
Hey, listen. Good luck to them. They're doing a great job. Keep playing. Let's talk about the Canadian Football League and the Toronto Argonauts.
So the Argonauts signed Dakota Shepley and defensive back James Caesar. Shepley most recently suited up for 3 games with the Dallas Cowboys. He had appeared in 16 total NFL games with the San Francisco Giants, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Dallas Cowboys, with short stints in Indianapolis with the Colts and New York with the Jets. That was his NFL career between 2018 and 2025. Caesar spent the last 2 seasons with the Vegas Nighthawks of the Indoor Football League, where he tallied 152 tackles, 10 interceptions, 35 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, and 1 fumble recovery across 32 games. So, interesting couple of choices there. Dakota Shepley at 6'5", 290 is certainly going to be one of those guys that they're going to ask to anchor the front line. He's a big boy. Caesar is at 6 foot 195. He's got the athleticism for it. Some of his numbers for the Indoor Football League show that he can definitely get to where he needs to be when he needs to be there.
Talk to me about the Alouettes.
So they've signed Thakarius Keys to a 2-year contract for 2026 and 2027. Keys is 6'1" and 220. He was originally drafted by the Chiefs in 2020 itself. He's from Laurel, Mississippi. He played 13 games in the NFL with KC, Chicago, and Indianapolis at 7 tackles. He also spent time on New England, Houston, Atlanta, Baltimore, and Cleveland's practice squad. So he's been around for a while. He's used to the pace of play. He's used to the intensity. So it'll be interesting to see where he slots in.
Talk to me about the Riders.
They've extended Kerfal Exume and signed Vi Jones. Exume is 6 foot 195, returns to the Roughies after signing with the Green and White in February last year. He played all 18 regular season games last season, plus a Western Final and Grey Cup. He was on special teams where he had 8 tackles and forced fumble in 2025 while adding 4 defensive tackles. Jones signed with the Seahawks as an undrafted free agent in 2022 and appeared in 3 games as a rookie. Spent time with the Bucks as well as the LA Chargers. And collegiately, he played for North Carolina State back in 2019. So some decent background and experience there.
Red Blacks.
Darius Bladek has been extended. He played 11 games for the Red Blacks in 2025, including 10 starts on the OL before suffering a season-ending injury back in August. He's from Clifton. He's played 100 games over his 8 seasons in the CFL with the Red Blacks, Argonauts, and Roughies, going all the way back to 2017. He played at Bethune-Cookman University. He was selected by the Roughies in the 2nd round in the 2017 draft. and had a mini camp attendance with the Baltimore Ravens in 2016.
Excellent for him. Let's talk about the Stamps.
They've extended Daniel Joseph. He's been eligible to become a free agent on February 10th. Joseph signed with the Stamps in September and appeared in 6 games for the Red and White with 3 defensive tackles and 3 special team stops, and returned 2 kickoffs for 34 yards. They've also signed American receiver Rashad Owens, who was with the Cincinnati Bengals in 2025. And they've also signed Tyreen Powell, who was an undrafted free agent with the New Orleans Saints in 2025. Played 3 preseason games for the Saints and recorded 3 tackles.
Talk to me about the Riders, Aaron.
They've released Sean Bain Jr. He was scheduled to become a free agent in February after spending 3 years with the team, and they decided to cut him loose a little bit early. He did play 36 games with the Green and White with 146 receptions for 1,713 yards and 9 TDs. But I guess they figured that was the end of the road for him. They're going to go with something a little bit different.
Talk to me about Nathan York and BC.
Yeah, so he's been extended all the way through 2028 now. He signed a multi-year contract extension. He's in the final year of his current deal, which he signed in August 2024. He thanks Mr. Doman. He thanks Dwayne Viano, Ryan Rigmaiden, Neil McAvoy, and his agent Greg Brookie for all the work that went into getting the extension done for him. He's a CFL, All CFL, and West Division All CFL selection. He was the Offensive Player of the Month for September by Pro Football Focus, and won the George Reed for Most Outstanding Player and Most Outstanding Canadian at the CFL Awards. He's developed into a really consistent player. I don't think this stint in the NFL hurt him all that much. I know that occasionally it does hurt Canadian players, but he seems to have come out of it just fine.
Absolutely. Tell me about the Jets and Mark Scheifele.
So Scheifele got his 26th goal. The Jets beat the Devils 4-3. Reigning MVP Connor Hellebuck stopped 26 of the 29 shots he faced. And the Jets ended their 2-game skid. Now the Devils have lost back-to-back games after winning 3 in a row at the start of their Western Conference road trip. They traded veteran winger Andre Palat to the New York Islanders in a deal that was consummated before he left the arena before warm-ups and was finalized during the first period. Winnipeg entered the night 8 points back of the second and final wild card spot in the West, won for just the second time in 5 games. Hellebuck, who's in line to be the U.S. starter at the upcoming Olympics in another week, was sharp. He let in 4 goals in a loss to Detroit on Saturday. He's glad to see he's shaken that off. One of the things you definitely need going into the Olympics is a short memory. So the fact that he was able to shake it off is a good thing. The Jets are going to be visiting the Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow, and the Devils are going to be hosting the Nashville Predators on Thursday.
Tell me about the Canadians and the Knights.
So the Knights are tired at this point of their road trip after hanging a significant beating on the Toronto Maple Leafs on the Friday. It looks like they're ready to just pull up stakes and go home. Jake Evans scored at 3:58 of overtime, giving the Canadians a 3-2 win over the Vegas Golden Knights at the Bell Center. Caulfield had his 30th goal of the season, and Philip Deneau also scored for Montreal, who are now 29-17-7. Mike Matheson ran his personal point streak to a season-long 5 games with assists on Cole Caulfield's goal, and Dobish made 32 saves in his first career start against Vegas. Akira Schmid on the opposite side had 23 saves in a losing effort. This is the second time in as many starts that he's lost against Montreal. They lost 4-1 against Montreal in Vegas back on November 28th, and it was Montreal's first regular season win against Vegas at the Bell Center since January of 2020. So this is something that's been a while coming.
Tell me about the Ekholm and the Oilers.
So Ekholm got a hat trick as the Oilers teed off on the Ducks for a 7-4 win. I think this is the second game in a row now that the Oilers have managed to get a hat trick out of one of their defensemen after Bouchard did it a couple nights back. So they're definitely getting offensive pickup from the back end. Zach Hyman and Connor McDavid each had a goal and an assist for the Oilers. Spencer Stastny scored his first in an Edmonton jersey, and Darnell Nurse also added a tally. Draisaitl contributed 4 assists, and Tristan Jarry stopped 36 of the 40 shots that he faced. 3 of Anaheim's 4 goals came from Michael Granlund on the power play. His line mate Alex Killorn added an even strength goal 55 seconds into the second period. Bennett Seneke notched 2 assists, and Ville Husso made 25 saves in the loss. This was something that snapped a 7-game win streak for the Ducks, who beat the Calgary Flames 4-3 in overtime on Sunday, which we covered on Monday night. Now, Kasperi Kapanen returned after missing 3 games with an injury, and Josh Szymanski made his NHL debut. Cutter Gauthier helped out the Ducks on Granlund's first goal of the night and extended his point streak to 5 games with 3 goals and 4 assists across that 5-game stretch. Vancouver's going to be playing the Ducks on Thursday, and the Oilers are going to be hosting San Jose tomorrow.
Tell me about Ekholm and the Oilers.
Just did, Frank. We're moving on to Celebrini and his 4-point night.
Sorry, Canucks and Celebrini. Sorry.
Celebrini had a goal and 3 assists. The Sharks got 3 first-period goals in 4 minutes and went on to beat the Canucks 5-2 on Tuesday. Ex-Maple Leaf and Marley Adam Gaudette, Tyler Toffoli, Will Smith, and John Klingberg also had goals for the Sharks. And Yaroslav Askarov improved to 17, 13, and 1 with 23 saves. Celebrini now has 78 points in 51 games so far this season. Tom Villander scored the game's first goal for Vancouver at 1:15 of the first period, with the teams playing 4-on-4. And Philip Hronik added his team's first power play tally in 6 games in the third period. It's been a bit of a rough week for Vancouver fans. Thatcher Demko is set to undergo season-ending hip surgery. Kevin Lankinen was pulled after giving up 3 goals on 6 shots in 5 minutes and 55 seconds. And Nikita Tolopilo gave up 2 goals on 27 shots in relief. The Sharks were 2 for 4 on the power play, with Klingberg's goal coming at 5-on-3, and the Canucks were 1 for 4. After Connor Garland and Dmitry Orlov took roughing binders just 44 seconds into the game, that's what got the ball rolling. The Sharks are going to be at Edmonton on Thursday, and the Canucks are going to host the Ducks on Thursday.
Well, Aaron, that's awesome. I got to tell you. Let me see if I can. There, that helps. See that? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Got all the light done right now. My hair. Okay.
That looks a little better.
So if you're a Leaf fan right now, it's starting to look more and more like this will be the first year of a couple. They won't be in the playoffs. I gotta say, it was a great run while it lasted. Am I pulling the ripcord because it's early? Maybe. But in essence, what has to happen is the team has to win hockey games, and the people who they pay to win hockey games need to be there. And right now, Nylander isn't even on the ice. He's getting involved, just getting suspended, not paying fines. Just getting fined. So everything's fined with him.
And it's just a shame because they've made the playoffs for 9 years in a row. This is the longest streak in the NHL so far.
Well.
I know. I would have liked to have seen it stretch to 10, even if they go out in the first round again. I would have loved to have seen them make it 10.
It's sad when you're saying, like what used to disappoint you now would be now it's, if you're a Leaf fan, you're hoping they make the playoffs. But listen, whether they make the playoffs or not, Rogers now owns the team. They are the sole proprietor of this organization. Now it is their name that's on the organization. It's their name that needs to be understood, just as it has been with the Blue Jays. They've done a really good job with the Blue Jays, at least recently. Will they do well again next year, or will what the decisions they've made for contracts not work? We're going to find out. But one thing we do know, they are trying to win. The Blue Jays cannot be accused of not trying to win, which I think as fans is the number one thing we hope for. At the end of the day, though, what matters is how they execute the plan and what the plan that they're executing looks like. So good luck to the Blue Jays. Good luck to the Maple Leafs. Hey, folks, it was a good run. It was a really good run for the Leafs where they were actual contenders. They aren't contenders anymore. Now they're just pretenders. And we'll just see if they can do anything to at least make some noise towards making the playoffs, Aaron. And I think that's their playoffs for this year. That's their Stanley Cup. Their Stanley Cup this year is make the playoffs, the way it's been over the years many times before. This is the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is who they are, and this is who they will be. And unfortunately, as a Leaf fan, you just don't get much more than that. Sadly, that's just the way it is.
As long as you don't embark on a 9 out of 10 years where we don't make the playoff stretch again, I think I'll be okay with that.
they're out for a couple of years, and depending on what they do with the salaries they have to pay and the cap that they have to play with, big reason why I think they should just trade if they can get a reasonable return on Matthews and Nylander, they should go for it. I would keep Tavares on this team, and I would make him the captain because he would be a class way to not make the playoffs. I like the guy. The guy, to me, is not afraid to speak to the media. He's not afraid to speak the truth, and he doesn't go out of his way to insult his teammates, but he does say what basically needs to be said. And the question is, are his teammates capable of hearing what he has to say? And that's what the Maple Leafs are going to be about in the next couple of years. Are they willing to listen to logic? Are they willing to do what it takes? Not because they have the ability, but they have the willingness. And that, at the end of the day, is what has been wrong with the Leafs the past few years, their lack of willingness.
Sum it up perfectly, Frank. I got nothing.
See ya.
Take care.